Okay, I'll go to the roll call. I'm here. Karen?
Here.
Lou, she's not here. Janice won't be here. JJ?
Here.
Dr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Hill?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Dr. Reynolds? Not here. Jason?
Here.
Dr. Steve?
Here.
And Brittany Walker? No? And Bill Boudreau?
Here.
Yes, sir. Angelique?
Here.
Angie?
Here.
Emily? And teacher's rep?
Our teacher rep today is Mr. Henry, and he is here.
Okay. Fine. So have somebody, who's got an extra sheet of,
Oh, and you need an agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
agenda? I
Here.
gotta find the right word. All right. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes. Are there any changes?
Move we accept.
If there's no changes, then they'll remain as presented. Board training? Nothing on that?
Yes,
Yes? Oh, yeah, please,
Yeah.
of course you do.
and JJ, you know, you wanna lead off, I'll lead off.
Well, sure. So Cleve and I attended the state, Louisiana State Charter School convention or conference that was held, I believe, last week or a week or two ago at the Sheraton, New Orleans. It's always very interesting. I've attended the last 2 years. Cleve's been there since inception. Heard him referred to as the old man in the room. So, but it was interesting. One of the seminars that I went to, and each one runs about an hour. But you know, I went to the financial one, and there was a long discussion about a charter school here in the state of Louisiana that was found by the legislative auditor to basically the principal person running the school, the founder, was basically using the school as her own personal piggy bank, and she's probably going to jail.
Good.
And so, but there was a lot of discussion about the fiduciary responsibility of the board, the treasurer, but of the board to hold the numbers accountable. And I'm happy to tell you that I think we have an exceptionally good duo over here. But it goes to show you that there are schools that are not. And all the rules and regs, we can get bent out of shape about, you know, it's a pain in the behind, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason for them. And this occurrence is, you know, example one. But to not scare anybody, but to simply reiterate the fact that we are personally accountable to these numbers. Angela, everybody works their tail off to put them together, but we are personally accountable, and you got to take it serious. You know, we look at the P&L every meeting, right? Doesn't everybody? Well, apparently not. A lot of school boards have a consent agenda. The numbers go out in advance. It's assumed that you're looking at them, and they just pass it off without a whole lot of discussion, and they have a finance committee that maybe meets quarterly to go over them. So it's unfortunate, but you're dealing with state funds, right? This is public money, and some schools don't get a little more lackadaisical than others, and I think, personally, we do a pretty good job with it. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, above and beyond that, you've got, we depend on a lot on the auditors
Absolutely.
to have gone through it and told us.
That was a big question in the meeting. How did the auditors
Yeah,
not spot this? Now, I think it's important that you guys know, when an audit's done, they don't look at every transaction, right? An audit will come in and they'll look at maybe 10% of the transactions, right? They do a sampling, a random sampling of transactions. So it's conceivable that problems can get missed. The audit is not a forensic audit. It's not meant to discover impropriety. but you hope that it would be in the process. In the case of this school, that was, I forget where it was in the state, it's hard to believe that the auditor didn't find a problem.
It was in New Orleans.
It was in New Orleans. And so, because the transactions were so numerous and so erroneous, it was crazy. They had hired somebody to come in and assist them with something, and he started finding impropriety, and she fired him.
Oh, well,
And
yeah.
so the guy that was fired had a responsibility to the state, and he reported it to the legislative auditor. They came in and did an internal investigation and was like, holy cow. Bad stuff going on. So it was just an interesting session to listen in on and to glean some best practices out of. I think we're doing a lot of good stuff, not the least of which is we look at this monthly. You all should know that I look at, Angela sends me all of the checks. I look at them every month. I send her emails if I don't feel like I understand something. So we look at it, we do look at it.
And I want to add a couple of things to what you just said, but then talk about the CSP grant, because you attended that session too. But one of the things they emphasize in a session that I attended, separate from JJ, is that a clean audit does not mean you're financially healthy. Keep that in mind. There are a lot of schools who get clean audits, but they are struggling to survive. We need to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if a board member, is one of our responsibilities, if a board member detects something that another board member is doing wrong, we must report it to the Board of Ethics. If we don't report it to the Board of Ethics, then, we can be held liable also. But you attended that session about the CSP grant, and Angie, he sent those papers to you. I'm sure you already knew about it, but just in case, did you want to talk about it?
Cleve, you're gonna have to help me out. The CFE. Oh yes.
Yeah.
There is state grant money. Sorry, I'll lose track of the acronyms. There's apparently $30 or $40 million that the legislature allocated for grants to charter schools, and I think did y'all get the paperwork on?
Mm-hmm.
So you may have already known about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was clueless. Cleve and I were both like, "What?"
Yeah.
So a lot of people were unaware. So,
I have a few things to talk about in my report.
Okay, great.
That as well, so.
great. So.
In the very beginning, it was very limited.
They
It was only
didn't-
supposed to be for
They
expansions
didn't
or
do
new.
a great job of letting
Of
us know
communicating
that it was not just new or expanding
Right.
charter schools.
So
But
they
they
were
did
encouraging-
right that ship
They
and
talked about it at
let us know.
lunch and said, hey guys, there's this pot of money out there. Y'all need to tap into it. So apparently a lot of people didn't know. And so
Do you know the title of it?
I don't, I can find out.
I have it all.
Please find
Okay,
out.
you got it all? Okay.
You have it?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll get that sent.
Oh, well, once you hear my report, you'll get a better understanding, I think, as well, so.
All right, so go ahead.
In the packet there, I put a few things together. I think it's about 4 sheets down. I'm not gonna go through the details, but I do wanna highlight a few things, highlights from the LAPCS conference. And I attended 4 different sessions, JJ and I attended one together for sure. But in that first session, it was entitled Housing Increase Enrollment. And I gave everybody a copy of this. This is not for me to go over. This is just something for you to soul search. Look through it and just inform yourself better about how we can increase enrollment. I know we pretty well near our capacity, but at the same time, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 students can make the difference in your funding, believe me. But in that section 1, how to increase enrollment, one of the things it said 93% of parents will research a school's website online before enrolling their child. And so the question I put there was, does MAC's website, does it possess some of the items, and I'll talk about those in a second. 7 to 8% of parents are strongly influenced by the website. And Facebook page, I know we have one of those, should be used to educate parents about what is being taught, the purpose of the instruction, and the positive outcomes. And so they gave us some website essentials. Number one, it needs to be clear so parents can understand. And sometimes websites that I've seen, they get so cumbersome you can't hardly follow along what's going on. They must be mobile friendly. You know, we can access it on our computer, but we need to be able to access it on our phone because so many people are using their phones. I really like the one about posting more video testimonials. And I think we have 2 or 3 from students that have been here before and went on to graduate from high school and go to college. They emphasize that parents really look at that. They really look at those testimonials, and that can determine whether they'll send their child here or not. There should be a link to the school's calendar on the website, the lottery procedures, who are the board members, and membership requirements, and find the foundational literacy skills. And so we need to be able to track the number of people that go on our website and the number of emails that we get. Because the more emails we get, that means we can count how many people are actually looking at our website on a daily basis. And that might give us some information about how we can contact these people and give them more information if they need about the school. The second session, how AI can be used, artificial intelligence. The guy that was supposed to show up for that didn't show up. But there was another guy there, he owns his own artificial intelligence company. And he emphasized that artificial intelligence needs to be used to improve operations, improve test scores, improve attendance, improve tasks that are repetitive, improve the efficiency of our operations, free up time for the school leadership. And I thought that was a very, very important thing because the more the leadership can be freed up from doing regular tasks that can be done by artificial intelligence, the more time they have for instruction and professional development. I think that makes sense. So that suggestion is mine. We need to write a grant proposal to hire a consultant who can help us upgrade our website, upgrade our phone system, and develop strategies for those things we talked about. So I'll stop there for a second. Does anybody have any questions so far? I'm going pretty fast.
Good suggestion.
That third bullet, JJ talked about a lot of that, so I'm gonna skip that. It's just something to get to. That fourth session that I went to, JJ talked a little bit about that. The board's fiduciary duties include fiscal responsibility, what the law calls a duty of care, which means that we need to know all of our cash flow responsibilities. That's the board. There's a duty to loyalty, which means we need to keep executive matters, executive functions confidential. I think everybody knows that. Duty to report any policy or financial decision to the Board of Ethics, and the duty of obedience to federal, state laws and regulations. Do everything possible to avoid the nuclear option. The nuclear option is when they just come in and shut you down.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. We need to do everything we can. Develop a school finance manual and how to protect school assets, maintain accurate records. We need to outline in our manual how to dispose of records. I think we normally keep them 7 years, something like that. But it needs to be in writing. And outline internal control procedure. The board should regularly review all bank statements, and I'm glad you said what you said because a board member is doing that.
Yeah.
And again, I think, like you said, most of the things that they talked about, you guys are doing it. You to be congratulated on, but I still feel like it's necessary that we bring some of this information back sometime.
Yeah.
And
Wouldn't hurt to revisit some of those things occasionally, just to ensure that, they're up to date and maintained.
yeah, and that's my last bullet. Melissa Carollo, she always has a standing invitation if we want her to come down, and she's never gonna, she emphasizes, I will never come into your school and talk about instructional matters. I will come in and talk about governance, and I will come in and talk about the fiduciary responsibilities of the board, and that would be a good review session. So whenever y'all, you guys want me to contact her and try to get her, just let me know. And that's pretty much it. And the last thing I'll say about it, and I said this before, been to a lot of conferences over my years in education. Carolina Roman has put together one of the best conferences that I've ever attended. She really does a great job with the limited staff that she has, And Steve, if you like to eat, you can eat all day long, because they got everything laid out all
The food was
day long.
surprisingly good. I had low expectations.
But it's really good, so I have to give her kudos for that. But, that's it, Mr. J.
Oh, well done. Very well done. And, some good information put forward. All right, is there any question for either Cleve or Jonathan? Judge? No?
No, sir, I'm
No
good.
questions? All right. Teachers rep.
All right, so we have our December board meeting, teacher report here in lower school, ELA. Students have been working on various writing prompts daily. They've been working on necessary prerequisite skills via foundation A through Z. And students have been meeting their behavior contingencies to be able to have fun activities on Fridays. In the math department, students are writing up multi-digit addition, subtraction, and word problems within 20. Place value, triple-digit addition, and multiplication review before the break, so they can start new targets whenever we return from the break. Upon returning, the students will start fractions, division, and multi-digit addition / subtraction word problems within 100. In social studies, students are progressing in social learning skills. And generally, students have been enjoying the theme Dress Down Week. We will be holding our Christmas parties throughout this week. And then tomorrow they're going to be having a Christmas party. And we'll be looking forward to returning back next year. And that's in lower. In middle, math is showing, math is moving along well in multiplication and division as a comparison. In science, both grades have wrapped up their first units. Fourth is moving into vision and light unit, and fifth is doing modeling matter. In middle ELE, students are demonstrating mastery and skills quickly, which allows for quicker progress through material and more exposure to content prior to LEAP test. Students have been working on the vocabulary during independent work and heavily focused on it in lessons for more in the moment teaching. Students also have been working independent to allow for more time to study on social studies material. Since there's less time in social studies in the class, students have met their goals. In social studies, in the middle, students, Unit 2, Chapter 1, students have completed Unit 2, Chapter 1. Fourth grade is underway and was not complete this week, but they will return. They will return with Chapter 2 after the break. Sorry. During enrichment in PE, we finished up our track unit with a fun from Nichols track and field team. They were coming on campus helping the students out with that. And then generally, students have been working really hard to earn points for our Christmas festivities, which include games, pizza, party, hot chocolate, Grinch punch, and the Harry Potter butterbeer drink. So those are things that the middle school have been working towards. And then we move along to upper. We have ELA. 6th and 8th grade are in Unit 2, and 7th grade have tested out of Unit 2 today. 6th and 8th grade are reading non-fiction texts, and 7th grade will move to their second non-fiction unit about Phineas Gage. Students are mastering out of fluency levels in checks and a whole new level 6 was made for 2 students. There are at least 6 students who will move on to level 6 before the end of this year. So that's some great news. In math, 6th grade is learning addition, adding, subtracting, and multiplying decimals. 7th grade is going over adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. And 8th grade is reviewing finding supplementary angles and how to solve for x to find angle measures. In science, all students have completed the units they have been working on before break. After the break, they will start new units. 6th grade will be working on force and motion. 7th grade will be working on traits and reproduction. And 8th grade, natural selection. And in social studies, our students have completed their chapter 1 assessments for their Bayou Bridges work studies. In general, we will have our Christmas party tomorrow. Throughout the week, students have been dressing, have been using themed dress downs, and on Wednesday we visited the planetarium at Nichols. Upper end of the year field trips are being scheduled, and in SPED we have lower school and interventions combined. So K-3 literacy and numeracy screened have been completed this month. Based on literacy results, students are making great gains in reading. When we look at the scoring components such as oral reading, fluency, words read, accuracy, or maze, this is where we are seeing growth. Out of 23 students, 8 doubled their score in a measure, and 12 increased significantly in their accuracy or amount of words read. When we come back, we are hoping to see if these results also be reflected in our Acadians middle of year testing. And in middle specials, middle is working on being able to answer comprehension questions related to overall themes and specific details in the text, as well as learning to remain on task through the use of a group contingency related to a spinner of points. Upper is working on appropriate small behaviors and being respectful towards each other when working in small groups, which uses a spinner in order to spin the wheel. They must follow all school rules as a group. And that's all I have for what we have for our teacher report.
Any questions, Robert?
What is Grinch Punch?
We don't know. We didn't make it. Someone in middle made it. Butter beer has nothing to do with either butter or beer. I can assure you of that. I think it's root. It's a root beer float. I think is what it ends up being.
Butterbeer is a reference to Harry Potter, if any of you guys are fans.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a Harry Potter
yeah.
drink.
But I'm assuming Grinch Punch probably involves something green and something with Sprite.
Y'all try it and let me know how.
No, I'm good.
No, thank you.
All right,
Are there any other questions
Any other
for
questions?
Mr. Henry? Is it okay if we?
thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good seeing you guys.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Mr.
great
Henry.
Okay,
Oh,
finance
interest.
report. Angie,
Ooh, Mr. Jackson. Okay, welcome guys. I do have my
thank you.
same that I always have, but I just wanted to address a couple other things that Mr. JJ and Dr. Hill mentioned. I did see your report that you emailed. The website is one of the first things I want to address. We already have recognized that we have somewhat of a hard to navigate website, and Matt, our new IT guy, is actually already doing research. We're looking at some of the surrounding districts' websites to get insight as to who we might be able to use. Although remember, your grant talked about hiring someone. I think Matt is capable, but funding is always the part, it's not cheap to redo your website. So, but we do have Matt looking into some alternate possibilities to see if we can make it a little more user friendly, because every year we have to do a website compliance checklist. So I'm not gonna say we sometimes find things that might be lacking, we do, but for the most part, yearly, we have to make sure we have the things that are required by the state and laws and anything like that. But it's an ongoing conversation with him, and he's actually working on that kind of, not every single day because he does have some other duties, but so hopefully maybe before the end of this year we'll be looking at, maybe the grant would be to fund the website, not so much to hire someone to design, because Matt's a very good computer guy who can probably figure most of it out.
Is he
but-
working on that click meter to see how many people access?
Well, I think that when we make these updates, some of those things are options you can add
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
like, show me the traffic and show me the things like that,
Yeah.
So definitely I did appreciate that, and I was like, you know what, because Dr. Hill mentioned it, I want to probably fast track it, not just say let's see what it is. Sometimes I worry about the funding, but we'll figure it out, I think. So
Well, I wouldn't fast track it too much because the technology is changing so
of
fast.
course,
You know,
of course, yeah.
you do something today and then almost a
obsolete
week from now
tomorrow.
maybe obsolete.
Yeah.
I used to teach it, now it's passed me up.
Well,
Yeah. And just to hit on the internal controls, that is also a audit item. If you guys remember, a couple years ago, we approved the written policies and procedures here at one of the board meetings. I probably could use an update, so I will, but I'll take a look. The Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office talks about they had slight change in their procedures where I don't want to quote it because I'm probably going to get it wrong, but if you pass it, you're good for a year or two. Like, they're not going to check every single one every single year, but not for more than 2 years straight. Like, they'll revisit it next year. But so we do have those in place. We do we don't I don't like the audit that you guys just got. That's actually a bullet. Like, did we all of the items financially, did we pass? And I mean, I think last year and the year before we had a few consecutive same findings, and once I got those written policies and procedures in place, it took care of those specific findings. But it could always be something that I might have missed, so I'm not going to say we don't have any shortcomings. But
Well, let me say this, because, and I think JJ alluded to it. We sat in on that same session when they were doing the case study about the school that was, and I felt pretty good because I came out and said,
We do
wow,
that.
we
We do that.
we looked and said, how could anybody
How could
allow those things to slip through, and subsequently some people may wind up in jail,
yes,
and so we don't have that worry here for sure.
Well, yeah, was that a recent
They were-
finding?
They were
Yeah.
talking about that at the refresh. I don't know if you were in the session, but I was in the session where Ms. Romer and LAPCS, I think you guys had gone to a different session at that point in the afternoon
Yeah, I
of
have
the
that on my-
refresh.
Yeah.
And they had mentioned that case at the refresh. And because the constituency was blindsided because they don't want to lose their school. So I think at that point they were still seeing how they can do what they need to do and still salvage for what the constituents think is a good product.
Well, this has really been going on for a while because not this past spring, but the spring before, when I was in that Charter Board Leadership Academy, that's when those investigations were starting then. And they knew at the time that this particular school and these particular people were eventually going to go to jail. And of course, some of these things lag for a long, long time. But they have been knowing about this, for quite a while. I think they've gotten to a point now they can use this as a case study for training for other boards to make sure that
They
they
know
don't
it.
follow that same path.
There was one in the early 2000s where they stole $600,000.
Yeah.
You'd think that they would have made a case study back then,
Yeah.
out of that one.
Yeah.
So you can quickly, it's, I'll just right off the phone. Chikacia Scott, founder of Impact Charter School, was accused of diverting millions of dollars in school
Millions.
funds to personal use, over $2 million.
She actually had contractors supposed to be working in the school, bought her a house.
Yeah, they put a pool in at her house.
Oh my God.
Where is this? It's in New Orleans?
This says Baker, so I'm not sure if it's New Orleans or.
No, you're right, it was
Baker.
Baker.
Baker?
Out of Baker.
Baker.
Yeah. The problem is she was the founder of the school, and so she handpicked the board, and the board didn't want to challenge that. It was a very hands-off kind of. She ran it. They just rubber stamped, kind of thing, and can get in a lot of trouble out of it.
Angie,
Yes.
The girl-
Dr. Hill brought up the record storage policy. I don't think.
Yeah,
we
I
have
do need
that.
to take a look at the record
I know
retention.
where we could put it.
Something I have in
something
there,
writing.
but never really made an amendment.
I can put it.
Something
where
I've
it belongs.
researched, I should say. Yes,
Just
yes.
like
And to keep going.
Yes. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the CSP supplemental funding. The money that the federal government has for charter schools. At the beginning of it, they did not really specify a lot of things, and it talked about renewing and new charters. Not renewing, excuse me, expanding and new charters. And in the last couple of months, that's when it started getting out that this money is not available to just expanding and new charters, but to all charters. So that's when I started doing a little more research. And they have a few very specific initiatives that you have to follow when applying for the funds. The name of the grant is CSP, Mr. Jake. It is available on the grants management system website where I do Super App and everything else. I did open the application. It's due tomorrow. Miss Rodriguez is typing some words.
Got the stuff
I do the
in?
money stuff. She does the word stuff. And we are going to be submitting that tomorrow before we leave for the holidays. But they don't tell us how much. There's not like an allocation amount.
Right.
I think once they receive all the applications, then they can talk about what per student amount we might be eligible for. And of course, approved uses of funds. So I had to follow the guidelines for that as well.
This is for the federal or state?
It's federal funds meted
Through the
out
State
by
Department.
Louisiana, basically. So, yeah. So I did get the information I needed. It took me a while. I had to get the application available to me to submit, but I should be able to submit tomorrow. I don't foresee any issues. We just have a few little bullets that we have to get into that application. So I just wanted to make sure that I did receive you guys' email, and I did, follow up as best that I could. But I don't know how much money it's going to be. I hope it's a good 20,000-30,000, but I don't know if it'll be that, So I'll let you know when I know more next time. So, but yeah, that's the update on that. And then, of course, my traditional report. The month of November, this has been a short month as far as what we've been doing here since the last meeting, but I did pay out those certified and support staff stipends, which we had received the funding for back in I'm gonna say September. So it does look like we're a little in the negative, but that 34-ish thousand is a direct implication of those stipends that I paid. So we should already in December, we're pretty much back on track to not have any negative spending, but so that's what that number looks like if you see that that negative number right there. And then the few other things I had been working on, just very standard stuff. Reimbursement requests have all been processed and paid to date for November. The audit is complete. We didn't have any significant findings. I think JJ sent you guys a copy of the audit documents that just today Laporte sent to the state for us on our behalf. So that's all good. And a Super App amendment had to have been completed. Always in mid-year, they will do like an adjustment of allocations with any rollover funding or anything like that from the year before. So that has been submitted and approved. And the AFR post-submission requirements that I had been working on for a few months for last school year is also complete. So it feels like I can go into the Christmas holidays with not a lot of
Deep breath.
demands and deadlines looming. So yeah. So
Let me tell you, the audit, it's pretty extensive audit. I've seen some audits, and this is pretty.
yeah, it is a
pretty
sample. It doesn't feel like a sample when you're pulling all the stuff, but
And all
Yeah.
the little boxes that they check, it's rather extensive, and I'm happy to say, if you haven't read the letter, you should read the letter. It was a clean audit. Yeah, it was a clean audit.
so that's really all I have, unless you guys have any specific questions about the finances, but I am always available to discuss anything. Transparency is important, and I would like you guys to make sure that I'm here. I'm here if you have any questions. So.
Okay, any further questions for Angie?
Just a little FYI, you know, the CSP money is federal money, but it flows through the state. That's why they call them flow-through grants.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that one of the reasons they changed the criteria is because they don't spend that money and
It
got to
goes-
give it back.
Yeah.
And when you give it back, it doesn't look good for the future for you. So they're trying to spend that money up, and I think we got a good chance of getting some of that.
That was the feel I got, yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope so, and like I said, we just have to make sure that the things that we're saying and requesting is approvable, because it goes through a few people looking at it before we get it back saying approved. Usually, though, it's not like denied, it's more like change this because it doesn't align with this or something like that. But it's my first time. I never had a CSB grant before, so we shall see what it looks like when we submit. So.
But get me the information.
For sure, I have a paper right here that you can.
All right.
Yeah.
We have somebody that in the past, and I know the same thing is now, agreed to help us out, help the charter school out whenever we needed help. He's lobbyist up there. He's quite a prominent lobbyist in Baton Rouge, and could probably help Chase after that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep,
Get
I
me
have the information. Yep. That's all I have, unless you guys have questions. So.
Okay, and Joe?
Oh, yes, sir. Okay, so updates and announcements. So Miss Wood, she is the liaison. She is the director of charter accountability that is in charge of us. There are 2 directors, and she's ours. She is requesting to be at our January meeting. I'd already reached out to Miss Boo about having her put on the agenda, where she will come to do a presentation to talk about our renewal instead of doing it in the fall like she had done the last time around. On that day, that would be January 29th, she will also be in the school for our annual site visit. As you know, the State Department comes down every single year. They look through finances, they look through HR to make sure that we have the documentation on all the adults that have access to the kids in the building, keeping them safe. She also looks through physical stuff in terms of our health inspections, our nursing, and all those things. So she's coming in to do that, as well as the special ed review audit that she does. Now, every year we have to make different submissions. This year, they have added to the submission. So every year, for example, Miss Karen would have to make a submission as the charter president, and her assurances that we're doing what we need to do. And so she gets this long list of stuff that she has to initial all of the things and sign it, and it gets sent back up to the Claiborne building. This year, they've added a new assurance that was for me to do, all the things that I promised that I am going to do and be doing, and I have to initial everything and send that up to the Claiborne building. Well, they've asked for a few other things that they've never asked for in the past. So we've always had to do a self-assessment on our website. This year we've had to turn an assessment in. So our self-assessment that was conducted had to be turned in before. That wasn't an obligation. That was just for us to do what we needed to do, but now we have to prove that we actually did the self-assessment. They also requested for the first time the nonprofits bylaws, and Miss Angie found them. We sent them there. She got them and immediately said, by the way, I've noticed in your bylaws that it is lacking a conflict of interest policy consistent with Bulletin 126-2303. So I put everything from her email here because I think that's probably a committee thing, but we need to discuss that today and start making motions towards rectifying that that missing component in the bylaws. That there
It's all
isn't something that
Incorporated in the Board of Ethics training, but
Correct.
yeah, you could, yeah.
Well, she said that that was it, and then she suggested this is something that needs to be discussed at your meeting, so you guys can start
Well,
working on it.
a statement saying that we follow closely Bulletin 126.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start off that way.
Or the
and then
Board
you-
of Ethics.
Yeah, and we
guidelines.
can get that in there.
Okay. So I just wanted to point that out because I like making all of the submissions, and I like she does getting the yep, great job.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to next year where that's going to be a yep, great job. Our last day is tomorrow, as Mr. Henry pointed out. It's a stressful day for any adult, not so stressful for the kids, but it is certainly a stressful day for any adults. We've got a lot of things that are going on. And for those of you who didn't get the email in the evening, I hope to see your lovely shining faces
I sent you the
at the
email.
faculty board dinner, Christmas dinner at
Bardella.
Oh,
that place.
About
Yes, tomorrow, yeah.
El Barrio.
Albario.
I've already forgotten the name, I'm sorry.
the neighborhood.
Correct. So, and that's from 6 to 9, right? Something like that. Looking forward to it.
Whatever time y'all want it.
Hopefully seeing you guys.
Okay.
I wanted to put a save the date because opera is carrying up again. Yay! So please, on April 17th, 18th, and 19th, if you could find one of those days that are amenable to you and your significant person that you can also drag along kicking and screaming. This year we will be doing Help Help the Global Links. Originally was in German, but I am happy to say we are finally singing in English. The kids were there was much rejoicing, like, hey, we don't need to translate the whole thing and study it. They actually know what we're doing. So we're excited. Dr. Francis is actually coming to us. We have almost 20 kids that have shown interest in the first 2 meetings in January. Some might fall away, but this is a pretty strong amount of
She does a
interest from the
great
kids.
job.
She absolutely does. And so I don't think we're going to lose too many kids from those initial meetings. So mark your calendars on that. Cabas update. We finished our last grade band meetings for the 2025 year with Dr. Shanman this week. They will start up again in January. He and I did meet. I am not able to make it to these grade band meetings that he has because they're all scheduled on days that I have either ILT or other things that standing meetings at that time. But Dr. Shanman said it's probably for the best because, principal. That can make other people uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to do things that you're not sure if you're good at, and really be risky with what you're doing. So, but we did meet and we kind of talked about where we're going for the second half of the year, and look forward to working with him again. And hopefully the other 2 will be able to join us as well, but they've had very busy schedules for the fall semester. Transportation, still no other applicant.
What do you mean still no other applicants?
Still, there were no applicants. There was an iffy applicant that got sent in but did not meet the requirements a long time
Okay.
ago, and
Yeah.
we have not had any bites since then. Okay, any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment because when you were looking at that first bullet, you were saying that they sent you a list of things that you had to do, and that kind of perturbs me because the more the principal is taken away from instruction and professional development, doing all these tasks, the more it hurts the school. And people don't realize that instructional coaching, that is time sensitive, and you need to be in the classroom. So if Miss Woods comes, if y'all want me to shut up, I'll shut up. But,
I think
they
we-
keep sending these tasks.
we
tasks,
tried-
Well,
tasks.
they're not her tasks. These are off of a checklist of things that she's been given that all charter schools have to comply with in terms of getting the things done without having to shut my office down for 2 whole days for the annual site visit. In the past, the site visit has taken a full day. She gets here at 8 and she leaves around 3:30, 4 o'clock. This year she has cordoned off only an afternoon prior to our board meeting. So I think it's a way of streamlining that, to comply with the federal guidelines, because a lot of this is driven, all of these audits and monitoring that goes on every year is driven by federal guidelines in order to keep that money flowing one way or another to us as well as to all of the schools.
Okay, I'll shut up.
I do my best to try to keep her in the class, but sometimes, and you know, a large charter school system in New Orleans or Baton Rouge probably has an administrator and a principal and a superintendent, and we don't. And it's just unfortunate because those tasks fall on 2 to 3 people, and we have to do them, you know. So,
Okay,
but we try our best.
is there any other questions for Julie?
I just, a few months ago, we were waiting for the state to let us know about that progress score. Did they ever get that to us?
I will reach out tomorrow to see if one of the other people, but we did have a meeting getting ready for that, but they don't actually do the calculating. And when like I said, I got a calculator, but it was questioned because the calculator title was for alternative schools, and while we are an alternative, we are not an alternative school as guidelined by that title, alternative school. So no one knows who does the calculating. I'm gonna leave in God's hands.
Good for you to change that,
Say that again?
to find out who does the calculating.
I just can't believe that nobody knows. Like, they can't give a straight answer.
There's been a lot of changes in the Claiborne building, especially in that area.
Of course.
Recently.
That change has been ongoing for the last decade. Right?
Well, but in particular, there are key people in the numbers department that have been traded off within the past 4-5 weeks that are just gone.
Is Thomas Lambert still there?
Yes.
Anyhow, okay.
All right.
That's
Let's see, Angelique.
You're supposed to hit a target, but you don't know what the target is. That just-
and don't know who's going to calculate the data.
And how they gonna
Or
calculate?
how it's calculated.
Or how it's calculated.
Little hard.
All right.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to PTA report.
For those who have not yet met, my name is Bill Boudreaux. My grandson's a 6th grader here. And I'm pleased to represent the board, PTA, as a treasurer. So Ms. Walker was supposed to be here. She called me and asked me to step in for her. And we have no fundraising activities since our last meeting. However, we've had 2 teacher activities, one for Thanksgiving, and tomorrow we have a Christmas lunch for teachers over at Gina's. And it's a diverse menu. And so we're looking forward to that. It's going to be about 10:40 or somewhere around
Yes, sir.
there. Our next PTA meeting is going to be on February the 25th of 2026.
It's hard to believe.
Boy, it's right here, isn't it?
26.
So that's it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Pilot, appreciate what's going on there. Any new business? All right, on the announcement.
Well, this isn't business. Well, can I announce? Did you tell them that Rochelle graduated?
Did not.
So one of our former students, remember Rochelle Bajeron? Her mom, Miss Flo, used to work here.
Yeah.
She graduated from Nichols
Wow.
No kidding.
Business.
business.
We need a testimonial.
We need to
Yeah. I've already talked to her, and she said she'd be more than willing to do so.
That's
So
awesome.
I figured I'd let her get through her finals.
Yeah.
Well,
Good idea.
Make sure she
Okay.
graduates.
Yes.
that's
awesome
excellent. We
news.
gotta start.
She was
keeping
here
track
from
of
what,
that.
second grade maybe?
Yeah, she was here for a while.
Like from the time she was little till the end.
All right, our next board meeting, as stated here, will be Thursday, January
Well-
23rd.
This says 23, but
It's 29.
it's 29, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
January
yeah, that's the last
29th.
The
Thursday.
23rd is also a Friday, so.
Oh, it might be a
It's
typo.
also my 80th birthday.
Oh, look out.
Well, maybe we
I'm
can
not
do
gonna
something
be
else.
here.
All right,
Your
So it's
80th
the
birthday.
20th.
we're gonna miss you.
29.
Can we
29.
make it on the 22nd?
See that?
No. Can we the
I mean, I don't know, it's already scheduled, I think that's a
Yeah.
typo, but I don't know.
Miss Woods will be coming
All
back.
right, Ms. Woods from LDOE will make a presentation regarding our renewal. When will she be coming?
On the
29th.
29th at that
Alright.
board meeting.
Okay, so she'll be here for that date.
Yes, sir.
All right, got that noted. And the next PTA meeting to be announced, right?
That's
Yeah.
February.
You know what it is? Okay. All right, is there any other business, any other things?
Yeah, I will not be here at that meeting.
Well, you can always catch it on the Facebook Live. I have it on the Facebook Live.
I'm in San Diego at an Airbnb. I probably can't.
Oh, don't
They
do
have
that.
the internet.
God bless you.
Who are you?
Okay, well, listen, everybody, thank y'all very much. It's, unfortunately, I won't make, the celebration tomorrow. I'll be out of the area, but, completely out of the area. Y'all have fun, that's all I can tell you.
We will try. It'll be hard. Without you.
Come on. Anyhow, thank y'all all.
Thank you.
It's been a year that went by like a week.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know about y'all, but that's the way it feels to me.
y'all
I'll
keep
move that we
doing your
adjourn.
prayers too.
I'll second.
He seconded.
Okay. And I am pressing